What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. It is your boy D Dyson. Now today, what we're going to go over and what I'm going to review is Netflix The Dirt. Just checked it out last night, and I must say it kept me up. It kept me entertained. It kept me like, what's going to happen next? Damn. Now, before I get into this, I have to say that each character played a really, really good job in this movie. Particularly Machine Gun Kelly. Didn't realize it was Machine Gun Kelly because he embodied so much of a young Tommy Lee that I kind of didn't know who he was. Especially with the wig, didn't really know who he was. And I must say, with this movie, the initial opening sequence, like the opening of this movie, I was like, what the fuck? This is what we getting into? It kept me entertained from there. I'm like, wow. When you see Tommy Lee in that house party go down on that girl and then she squirts like a distance, I'm like, oh shit, this is what we about to get into? Okay, I want to see how y'all came about. Y'all some wild boys. Like, y'all wild. Like, I know people in my comments was like, they were the baddest of the bad. They freaking was. I'm seeing like they just did shit on purpose. They just caused destruction on purpose. And I was like, wow, dude. Like, wow. I must say that I look at this movie and it's told through the eyes of Nikki Sixx. And it starts off with Nikki Sixx. The only thing that really bothered me with this movie was you show the childhood of Nikki Sixx, but didn't show the childhood of anybody else. So that let me know that it's told through the eyes of Nikki Sixx. And one aspect of Nikki Sixx was when he was a kid, you know, had his mom locked up, and then you didn't see anything else other than that. It just skipped a whole bunch of shit, and then it went straight to Tommy Lee. It was like, hey, yeah, Nikki Sixx is in a band. They're a famous band called London. And I'm just kind of like, whoa, you can't just jump over. I didn't know what happened to you the whole time. I didn't know that. Then later on in the movie, it talks about, oh, yeah, I was a runaway. I'm a homeless. You know, I'm like, dude, we didn't get to see any of that. Like, how we know, you know? Like, we didn't get to see any of that. So, I mean, I guess because The Dirt, I think it's made off a book that, you know, it's more detailed in the book, but I guess for Netflix or I guess for movie purposes that, you know, they had to compress a whole lot of stuff. Hence why they've been trying to make this movie since 2007. So shout out to my people in the comments who was saying that, yeah, they've been trying to make the movie since 2007. So I'm long time in the making, and I'm glad it got made. I look at The Dirt as Netflix's first biopic, and it didn't disappoint. It did not disappoint. Now I felt like watching this movie, I know all of them. Nikki Sixx, Tommy Lee, Vince, and Mickey Mars. Like, I just was like, wow. And shout out to, because I'm like, wait a minute, is that Ramsay from Game of Thrones? Is that Ramsay? And I'm like, oh shit, it is Ramsay. It's Ramsay from Game of Thrones. And I know that the actor who plays Ramsay in Game of Thrones, he's actually a guitar player, or he plays in a band in real life. So he's a real life musician. So I'm like, this is a good role for him. And he played Mickey Mars really, really good. Knowing that he's the older guy, and then finding out that he kind of had like something like a cancer or arthritis in his spine. So it kind of makes him hunch over a little bit, can't do a whole bunch of things. And I just have to say, damn, like they nailed it perfectly. It looked like an 80s set. It looked like it just looked like the 80s. Like, damn, this is what you guys were doing in the 80s. Reckless, wild, like wild times. Every time I kept watching this, I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, only if we had social media back then, boy, y'all influence would have been so greatly reached beyond capacity of what you guys were doing. If social media was around back then, these guys would be on social media every day with wild shit and wild stories. Like, as many bumps they were doing, it's cocaine. You know, Nikki had dove into heroin, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like he dove so deep into heroin. Yeah, it's true what they say. I'm surprised that this guy is not dead. Like, he came back from 2 overdoses and he's not dead. And I'm just kind of like, wow, dude. Like, you just took it to the extreme where you didn't care anymore. Like, you had $1,000 a day habit of heroin. I'm like, wow. It got so bad, like, he shot up in his neck. Like, I've never seen anybody, any movie, shoot up in their neck. And he was just trying to get high that bad. Now, some aspects of this movie, I'm so upset that they didn't dive into. They did not dive into Nikki Sixx dating Vanity from Vanity 6 and got her hooked on heroin and eventually messed her career all the way up. You know, got her hooked on heroin. Then you didn't dive into Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson. But one thing I didn't know was Tommy Lee was married to Heather Locklear. Didn't know that. So that was okay. I was just like, but they didn't want to dive too deep into that. And that was something about this movie that we're going to take a closer look, but we're not going to dive in deep, you know, and it just jumped around a lot and then you didn't really go into the creative process like I thought they were about their music. Like, I had a question, was like, yeah, what does Motley Crue sing? And I really, off the top of my head, before watching this movie, I couldn't name one. I really couldn't. And I just heard Dr. Feelgood like recently before this movie came out, and I was like, oh damn, that's Motley Crue. And the other movie like girls, girls, girls. Now I heard that song, but didn't know it was them. So I was hoping that they would dive into the creative process of how they were making music. And then I know Vince was pissed off, like, dude, this album sucks, this song sucks, and just, I hate doing this. I want to have fun. I'm not having fun. We're all sober now. So they went through a stint of rehab because Nikki was like, dude, I got to really go through rehab. And he made it right by having everybody in the group go through rehab. So they did that for about a year, and they just found out that how boring life was when they weren't on drugs. And they slowly crept kind of back into that. Like Vince was like, dude, I can't take this shit. Tommy was like, dude, I can't be sober, dude. I don't want to. It's boring. Like, so them two kind of branched out, and then Vince, you know, deciding to quit, you know, getting fired, what and what. And then I wanted to see his deep, you know, his spiral from after that vehicular manslaughter, which kind of derailed his life and his career because people just kind of looked at him different. He looked at life differently because of that, you know, and paid for it in a great cost, and then eventually losing his family. And they kind of sped up when he was, you know, his daughter became sick and his daughter passed away. And it was kind of funny because I'm like, you know, with his daughter passing away, the group just shows back up like, hey, we miss you, Vince. Say, hey, like not knowing if they already knew that, because they just showing up like, hey, man, come back in the group, come back in the band. Like, the dude just lost his daughter. Like, and you guys weren't nowhere near around any of it while he was, you know, going through that traumatic experience in the hospital. So that's why I kept thinking in my mind, I'm like, yeah, they're trying to just, you know, hurry up and hurry it up. So other than that, you got to see, especially I liked how you went through Tommy Lee's eyes of, here's how a typical night on the tour goes. And it went from 6 o'clock in the morning to 6 to 6. And I was like, wow. Wild. Like, drunk, hammered, coked out, groupies. It was just wild. And I was just like, wow, you know. And it was a cool set. But I just wish they would have dived just a little bit more into the music aspect of it. But, you know, I guess they wanted to show you more about their personal life and what they were doing because they were, quote unquote, the bad guys or the bad boys of rock and roll. And then that disturbing scene with Ozzy Osbourne, I was like, what the hell? Ozzy did so much crazy shit. That's why they call him the godfather of rock and roll. This dude did whatever. And I'm surprised that man's still living till this day. Like, it's crazy. So I give The Dirt a solid 9 out of 10. Only because they had 2 or 3 things that I wish they would have put in this film. And you could have made it longer. I wouldn't even care. Could have made it longer. But like I said, I give it a 9 out of 10. So if you enjoyed my review of The Dirt, subscribe to my channel, post comment down below, and like this video. It is your boy, D. Dyson. Peace.